Imagine you're walking home at night, no street lights, and you see it, coiled in the middle of the road, a snake. Your heart stops, you freeze, maybe you run. Then someone comes with a torch, and what you thought was a snake is a rope. Now here is the question Raja Rao wants you to sit with. In that moment of terror, was the snake real? To you, absolutely. You felt it. Your heart raced. You might have screamed. But it was never there. That, in 4 words, is the entire spiritual architecture of one of the most ambitious, most difficult, and most extraordinary novels ever written in English. The Serpent and the Rope by Raja Rao. Welcome to Hardika Reads. Sit down, this is going to take a while because this novel demands that of you. And by the end of this video, I promise you, you'll have a new way of looking at your own life. So let's talk about the author first. Who is Raja Rao? Born in 1908 in Hassan, Karnataka, into a family of scholars and philosophers, Raja Rao was educated at Nizam's College in Hyderabad and then left for France in 1929 on a scholarship. He was, from the very beginning, a man between worlds. He stayed in France through most of the 1930s. He married a French woman. He wrote his first novel, Kantapura, in a 13th century French castle in the Alps, a novel about Gandhi's independence movement told in the cadences of a village grandmother. It was published in 1938. He was 30 years old. And then he went silent as a novelist for 22 years. 22 years! In those years he wandered, he visited ashrams, Sri Aurobindo in Pondicherry, Ramana Maharishi in Tiruvannamalai. He was searching, as he put it, for a guru, for a teacher who could show him what he called truth with a capital T. In 1943 in Trivandrum he found him, Sri Atmananda, a philosopher sage from Travancore. And in 1960, 22 years after Kantapura, the second novel appeared. He once told his editor, and I'm quoting, "One of the disciplines that has interested me in Indian literature is its sense of sadhana, a form of spiritual growth. In that sense, one is alone in the world. I can say that all I write is for myself. If I were to live in a forest, I would still go on writing because I enjoy the magic of the word." This is the man. Writing was not a career, it was a practice for him. Each sentence a step toward the absolute. Let me give you the context of the novel. The Serpent and the Rope is published in 1916, 13 years after independence. The British have left. Nehru's modernizing secular India is being built. 5-year plans, dams, steel mills. And here comes Raja Rao with a novel that is not about any of that. He's not asking, what does India do now that the British are gone? He's asking, was any of this ever real in the first place? This is radical. While everyone else is talking about nation building, Raja Rao is asking whether history itself is an illusion. His protagonist, Ramaswamy, says it plainly, quoting from the novel, "India has no history, for truth cannot have history." And again, more fully in a conversation that runs like a philosophical duel, again quoting from the novel, "There can be only 2 attitudes to life. Either you believe the world exists and so you, or you believe that you exist and so the world. There's no compromise possible. And the history of philosophy is nothing but search for a clue to this problem. If I am real, then the world is me. The first is the Vedantins' position. The second is the Marxists. And they are irreconcilable." This is the collision at the heart of the novel, not just between India and Europe, between 2 completely different ways of understanding reality. Now let's talk about Advaita Vedanta. Let me take you back to that snake and rope. Advaita Vedanta is a school of Hindu philosophy most systematically developed by the philosopher Adi Shankaracharya. In the 8th century CE, Advait means non-dual, not two, and the core claim is both simple and staggering. There is only one reality. It is called Brahma. Everything else, the world you see, the body you inhabit, the relationships you have, the self you think you are, is Maya, illusion, a superimposition on that one reality. Think of it this way. You're watching a movie, you get absorbed, you cry when the character dies, you're afraid when the villain appears. But the entire time you're sitting in a cinema chair, the screen is just light and shadow. The characters don't exist. Advaita Vedanta says your entire life is like that movie. You are not the character in it, you are the consciousness watching. And the world, like the film, has a kind of practical reality. You can't just ignore it. But it is not the ultimate reality. Shankara uses 3 levels to explain this. First is absolute reality, that is only Brahma, the one undivided consciousness. Second is practical reality, that is the world we live in, real enough to eat, love and suffer in. And the third is illusory reality, like the snake in the rope. It caused real fear, but it was never there. The key insight is ignorance causes us to mistake the rope for the servant. A guru brings the lantern. He shows you what was always there. And crucially, the self, the deepest part of you, is not separate from Brahma. That's the Tattvamasi, that thou art of the Upanishads. The deepest part of you, beyond your thoughts, your personality, your body, is identical with the ground of all existence. To know this not just an intellectual idea, but as a living, breathing realization, is liberation. Moving on, let me talk about the author's foreword for the novel. So before we even enter the story, Raja Rao gives us a foreword, written in Paris, September 27, 1954. That is itself one of the most remarkable pieces of literary manifesto in Indian writing in English. It begins with, "This is an Indian novel. That it is an Indian writing does not make it more Indian than the fact it is written in English make it less so. Both are, if one might say, accidental, thus irrelevant to the principal situation." He's brushing aside the entire anxiety about authenticity. Can you be truly Indian while writing in English? His answer, irrelevant. Language is accidental. Truth is not. He says the novel might have been told by a parrot, one of the loquacious and ancient ones of our tales, invoking the classical Sanskrit storytelling tradition where a parrot narrates stories within stories. What he's saying is this novel belongs to that lineage, not to the European novel at all. Then he adds, the English language is not alien to me. Sir William Jones, Monia Williams, Max Muller, carrying over the majesty and holiness of Sanskrit into English, have given this alien tongue, as it were, thread, flame and sanctuary amongst us. So he's not apologizing for English, he's Indianizing it. And then, I'm quoting, "Tradition makes us anonymous. Tradition is only the past in us contemporaneous with the future. The past is not behind us, it is in us, contemporaneous with the future." This one sentence contains the entire temporal philosophy of the novel. Vairama, standing by the Ganges, can feel Upanishadic sages from the 5,000 years ago discussing the roots of human understanding on those same banks. He ends the foreword with a verse from the Rig Veda, the oldest of the Hindu scriptures, about dawn arriving. He's invoking cosmic beginnings. This novel, he's saying, is a spiritual document. With that, we can enter the story. But for that, you have to wait for the part 2. So until then, bye-bye.